Okay. Welcome everybody to this lunar eclipse 144K mass intervention, which is a better description of what we do. It is August 27th, 28th, 2026. And as I wait for the thumbs up on all the platforms and that the sound is working fine on all platforms, I just want to really emphasize here the extreme need to assist with the detox is best described as a detox of the whole planet. Collective human level detox, planetary detox. It is so in our faces, such a big issue. And many of us, certainly the majority of us, are experiencing the ramifications of that, I guess. It's almost like collateral damage, and express itself in all sorts of ways through all sorts of symptoms, whether it's just plain old negative emotions or things in the so-called outer world going sideways or south. That's just nothing more than the energetic violence, I'm going to use that term, energetic violence going on, courtesy of the detox. It's all about lifting it out to not just calm the energies, but transform the energies and almost reset ascension itself because of how volatile and extreme this amount of detox has been. The primary cause of the detox is compression breakthrough symptoms, like from the top pushing down and like from the bottom beneath the Earth's surface pushing up, already meeting in the middle in many parts of the world, darkness retreating, quantum anomaly retreating, and that's intense. That was always going to be intense. We need to get a grip on things so that our experience is transformed and planetary liberation process is maintained, if not expedited, yet again. So the classic timeline, compounding or compounding timelines, where we constantly raise the timelines, but on a consistent basis, reaching that exponential upward growth. What Einstein described as compounding interest, where the same figure just compounds on itself and then eventually reaches a massive astronomical figure that then compounds on itself continuously, achieving and materializing that sudden zoom up in exponential growth curve. And we're about to shoot up as far as that's concerned in terms of timeline, exponential growth curve. If you can imagine that gradient of a chart zooming up all of a sudden after a steady growth. And this is the kind of thing that can happen and clearly does happen when you start zooming up in timeline upward growth, where they compound on each other. So if you're new, welcome. You'll be carefully and lovingly guided into what is essentially energy healing, the same principles used in energy healing, psychic healing. So you get training on that to double the benefit to you, but it does require really opening up your mind, really opening up your consciousness level, because it's a different level of consciousness. All right, let's effectively begin this mass meditation that the whole planet desperately needs, clearly, by beginning the process of slowly breathing in deeply through your nose, nice and deeply through your nose, just for a couple of minutes. I'm going to mute while I do that, while we all do that together to help unify our energies as well. And as you do that, center yourself more and more into the now. There's different levels to the now. The deeper levels connects you with your higher self and soul mission. So just begin that gentle, slow, deep breathing through your nose and effectively begin meditating, basically, in the traditional sense of the word. I'm just going to mute for a couple of minutes while we all do this in unity and togetherness. And all you veterans will know, one of the tricks to getting into the now is by completely detaching from linear time, which is deliberately like a trap or jail cell. That's what linear time literally is. It was specifically invented by darkness for that particular purpose. The now, where you detach and kind of forget about everything else. is your portal to your higher aspects, to that natural psychic flow of non-trying, and out of any simulation or matrix for that matter. That's the common term for it. You escape the matrix through the now. And the now naturally aligns you with your higher self. It requires detachment. It requires trust. It requires forgetting about the outer or so-called outer world. Okay, if you consciously work with any guides, you can call them in now. Otherwise, let's all together engage. In other words, move your consciousness into the right hemisphere brain to access the non-linear world, the ever-present now, and access any time space you want or any density and plane you want, because your consciousness already is everywhere. And you connect to it through the right hemisphere brain. You connect to the right hemisphere brain via the highest form of consciousness that this back to front matrix refers to as imagination. Imagination is the highest form of consciousness. Imagination, when projected from the physical plane to anywhere else, never mind the non-physical worlds, collapses physical and non-physical quantum waveform particles into whatever you imagine or visualize for that matter. And do that now simply by, quote unquote, imagining yourself instantaneously, zero effort. It doesn't work that way. The psychic flow never works that way. By visualizing yourself inside a giant, very translucent, kind of silvery crystal ball. You're closer to the equator on the inside of the crystal ball, facing towards the middle. And you allow. It's about allowance, not striving or tensing and demanding perfection. It's about allowing yourself to see the golden light bodies of all your 144K fellow brethren here in this place. That's perfectly real. So everyone's evenly spaced, forming a dotted golden ring facing inward. And now let's call in Gaia. If you're a goddess with your own personal relationship to Gaia, you can call her in your own way. Otherwise, Just follow along with your consciousness. Authentic Gaia, authentic Gaia. We call upon the one true, authentic goddess, Gaia. Please be here with us. And see. Remember, you're utilizing and accessing your God aspect. See Gaia in the middle. Adore her beautiful white polar ice caps. White clouds over the blue oceans with your continent of choice facing you. And now for the first secret source of transforming the energies with a bigger impact, like by 100. We now start to rise up the layers of this universe. You start to see the usual glowing white layers through the translucent walls of the crystal ball, going from top to bottom. Trust your inner vision. Allow. The image is already there, just from the intent. And we speed up rapidly. You have a sense of moving up in frequency and density. As we race up through any remaining layers of simulations, membranes, not just density, or dimensions within this universe, and upwards we go. And that's soft. We're going up so fast that all you see through the translucent walls of the crystal ball is the soft, rapid flickering of light through the walls of the crystal ball. There you can notice it's almost like a blur. Gaia in the foreground. Have that relaxed occasional visual on her. If you're new, imagery, visualization does not have to be perfect at all. Faint imagery always seems to work just as well. And we rapidly approach, almost there, in terms of reaching that last thick outer membrane of this universe. We do this to multiply the power and impact of this global meditation by a good 100 times. Now take note of Gaia in the middle. And all of a sudden, the flickering white light in the background all of a sudden disappears. It's very bright, very bright. You can barely see Gaia in the middle as we move through the last thick outer membrane of this universe. You almost have to squint your eyes. And we're through. The brightness disappears. It's nice and dark and sort of still and calm. And we rise above a huge ball of light that is the whole universe that we just left beneath us. And it rapidly shrinks into a tiny ball of light. And we rise above a whole ocean of tiny balls of light that are all the neighboring universes. In this neighborhood of this particular multiverse. And then this multiverse shrinks into another ball of light, and we rise above a whole other ocean of small balls of light at this point. That is the surrounding multiverses. Generally speaking, the higher you go, the more energetic leverage and power you have. Gaia in the middle. And the whole multiverse shrinks. And disappears. Shift your consciousness back towards Gaia, the dotted golden ring of all the golden light bodies, your 144K brethren, standing in unity and solidarity. Shift a bit of a glance to your guides if you consciously work with any. As we continue to rise above all that is to managers or overseers of multiverses, authentic emissaries of Source, maintain vision primarily on Gaia, remain within the limitless nature of the right hemisphere of your brain. While I run through standard protocols, authentic heart, we call upon the one who authentic light brings the heart. Please make sure we go to you and not put the heart. And you look up through the roof of the crystal ball and through the very translucent, dark silvery roof of the crystal ball, you start to see a single point of white light. Starting to get bigger and bigger. Brighter, until the whole roof of the crystal ball is lit up. Still approaching it. And we finally reach it. We come to a sudden yet somehow gentle stop. And we begin. Just slowly, smoothly and gently move through this platform of light as it gently, lovingly envelops the crystal ball, Gaia in the middle. It begins to close at the bottom. And we rise above. Into almost like another world. As the platform of light kind of shrinks, converges towards the bottom of the crystal ball, on the outside, of course, it sort of disappears. And now we form a straight line of solidarity behind, yet above, Gaia. Okay. You look up and you see the crystal ball begin to open up at the very top center, nice and slowly and gently to allow for a more gentle decompression, because this is pretty high up, super high frequencies here that benefits your whole aura. And past the halfway point, all the way down, and it disappears. And now for the next secret source to power, impact, and transformation of our world. You're going to establish your own connection with these overseers of multiverses. Again, reference points plays a role, and that's fine. If you're new, you may simply see them as beings of light, and they are that. Very translucent. They're kind of joined together, sort of, with the central sun of source in the middle. And as always, allow the image to be received. Forget about trying, forget about getting it perfect or even right. Allow. Trust. As you spend the next couple of minutes establishing connection. Critical to game-changing energy work. Never mind ascension and freedom. Now remember to remain in the now, almost like lost in the now from the left hemisphere perspective or rational mind perspective.
Again, if you're new, don't try to analyze or understand. That will deny you a blissful and panoramic vision. And the vision can be perfectly faint, and that's okay if not normal. Just ask any remote viewer. And breathe deeply and slowly through your nose as you do this. We have long since started the mass meditation, effectively speaking, and establish your own connection with them, partly by also feeling their unique energy signature. You can use these same beings for dramatic internal shadow work as well, by the way. We use similar principles, except we're doing it on Gaia. Feel what they feel like. And you generally have to be kind of still and detached. And in the now, in order to be able to receive the energy through the noise of our or within our auric field. Look, see, feel. Forget about everything else. Authentic Heart, can you please send us a massive wave of your energy so we can truly feel you to an undeniable, unmistakable physical level? And have a little bit of background consciousness initially in the center of your head, thalamus area, for that little soft pulse of their unique energy. And it's okay if it takes a few minutes, because the further away in terms of density and frequency any light being is, the more subtle their energy is, because we're so numbed by the extreme noise down here. And if you're attentive, as always, you'll just have to hold on to your chair. And sometimes it's normal for it to take a while to quote unquote get into it. Totally normal. Just be like that. Disciplined, absolutely still, narrow focused, Zen monk. And lose yourself in the now. Really lower those brain wave states. Almost as if you're being put in a hypnotic or hypnotherapy sort of session. See their light. Feel their light. It's kind of like the real life version of using the Force, Luke, the way Obi-Wan to echo in his ear. Authentic God, please send us a massive wave of your energy so we can truly feel you at the heart level. Send this wave to our hearts. Engage the heart. And now, as you look at them and feel them, have a little bit of background consciousness on the center of your chest or sternum, where there's a big lump of nerves. Detach. Be here through the portal known as the now. Nice. Okay. Again, always remember, forget about length of time, linear time. freedom or the deliverance of freedom simply doesn't work that way. Okay. Shift a bit of a glance to your guides and or Gaia in front but below us. Well, I quickly call in the rest of the teams. I call upon the infinite army of the authentic amalgam of the Oberon lineage. I call upon the others of the amalgam. I call upon the authentic Oberon, the team of beings that created this universe, and the unique phenomena known as physicality as the ultimate plan, to corral all dark and back to the light. Okay, good. Repeat, everybody repeat after me. I call upon all of my upper density levels, higher self. See him or her next to Oberon, perhaps. You're the god or goddess. Place your higher aspect representative wherever you see fit. Remember to breathe deeply and slowly through your nose. This connection is, well, let's just say highly advised. To put it euphemistically, I mean, in an understated way, stay outside of linear time. Lose yourself in the know, in the now. Okay, certain things have to be dealt with there. Bear with me. Okay, repeat after me. I call upon the entirety of my authentic, organic soul. And see what looks like a bright star up above the hod. This is who you are. Here to do his job, to work through you. Connect. Repeat after me. I call upon the entirety of my oversoul. And you see a bigger ball of light behind your soul, forming like a ring of its own light. You can change the color if you want of your oversoul to be able to see the distinction. Connect. Repeat after me. I call upon my authentic I am presence and see an even bigger ball of light. Okay. Now, holding some vision on Gaia with the HOD at a minimum. Let's go into omnipresence, authentic legion of light, authentic whole and collective I am. Authentic HOD. There is Gaia. Here is the 144K. Take us to the space and place of omnipresence. Take a brief glance at Gaia, and all of a sudden, everything goes bright white. You're so bright, you have to squint your eyes. You can barely see Gaia. As we are transported to omnipresence, to multiply the power and impact of this 144K intervention by another 100 times, plus or minus. And now the white light disappears. Everything looks the same. It may feel a little different. And now for the next secret source to profound impact that makes a huge difference. We're going to show the teams, namely the HOD, the overseers of multiverses, and your I am at a minimum. We're going to show them starting off with recent personal experiences, because at this point, most of humanity is getting bashed about by this extremely severe detox, mostly centered around compression breakthrough of the light. So, as representatives for all of humanity, surface humanity, and for the way, and as a way for all your higher aspects, especially your I am and the HOD, to get in and get through your field into the collective, and the surface, chaos. Show them recent struggles, negative experience of any kind. And if you haven't experienced any significant struggle, you can show them the suffering of humanity, basically. And as you show them, be really present with them. You don't have to see them clearly at all. But be very present with them in order for them to be able to receive your communication through the immense noise of your auric field, for them to receive it. And we all have that, huge amounts of noise within our auric field. And just calmly show them brief memories, brief energy resonances of a recent experience or your overall situation, the energy of it. You don't have to fully relive things at all. It can all be done in a second or two. But just to have some kind of an image of them whilst showing them the feeling, the energies of what you've been experiencing, especially since the solar eclipse. And this is the other secret source to true energy work, healing, and clearing that ascends us, both personally and collectively. Just go with the flow. It's okay to sort of struggle initially until you sort of eventually begin to get into it. But don't assume that they automatically know all the troubles and situation here. True energy work doesn't quite work that way when you're working with and in conjunction with light beings. Remember to breathe deeply and slowly through your nose. Really sort of immerse yourself in terms of being present with them. And just say to them, feel this, see this. I sort of like to hold a brief, even faint image of them. Again, the overseers of multiverses at a minimum, and then show them stuff in the 3D. Show them the energies of any given situation, not just imagery. Remember to breathe deeply, slowly. Again, this is real energy secrets, real secret source stuff. Don't try, allow. In case you're new, one major secret to successful and extremely transformative energy clearing is investing half your time in showing and telling through a proper connection. The rest is easy for these guys. It's like they're gathering intel through you, through your consciousness. They can't do much without the intel. Keep at it. Just keep on showing them stuff. Look at them and then show them something, then look at them and then show them something, holding them in the background of your consciousness or in the background of your image. This is powerful psychic skills you're practicing with. As you continue to do this, continue to lose yourself in the now even more. All right. Let's all take a deep breath in through our nose. We're really going to crank things up now, bust everything loose and free. Authentic legion of light. Repeat after me. Authentic legion of light. Highest self. Soul over soul, I am. Guides. Scan all that I have shown you. From the space of omnipresence. Clear the lot. Completely transform everything. Now, I know that may sound like a bit of a high bar for some of us, but if you're willing to go past your current level of consciousness, beyond the boundaries of what you know, you would be amazed. I'm talking from experience. See Gaia beneath us, or in front of us, but below. See a white quarantine sphere form around her, well into sublunar space area. And you can always change the color and level of translucidity, if there's such a word for it, of the quarantine sphere. And this is the moment of totality of the lunar eclipse. Now pick a holographic, monotone or single color of Gaia, all relevant densities and planes, whatever the issue is. That represents omnipresence, so we're utilizing omnipresence extremely deliberately, which again, like I said, multiplies the power and impact of this mass intervention by a minimum 100 times. Look up over in the background, a little above, to your soul over soul, I am. Repeat after me. Actualize the highest potential of our soul mission and purpose through the portal of this now moment. Now, kind of remain in that deep meditative state and kind of be mentally blank to remove all beliefs, limitations in terms of limited reference points, to see what appears through this correct, most empowering intent and protocol. Let them show you, but you do have to allow, without a single shred of effort or quote unquote getting it right. The psychic flow pretty much never works that way. It's kind of instantaneous. It's a classic case of do, don't think. Thinking is incredibly limiting. This is completely different form and level of consciousness, and that's your key back to freedom and bliss, let alone galactic reunion. As you see Gaia, in the quarantine sphere, your choice of colors that represents omnipresence as the teams and all your higher aspects continue to scan and find. And if you haven't already, you'll start to see things at the right moment. Really unleash your consciousness. That literally is the only limiting factor. You just have to trust in that. This is psychic secrets you're playing with and practicing at, especially if you're new. Now, anything that needs to be cleared will appear as, again, in terms of representation, for the rational mind to understand, it'll appear as a dark grey or black, typically. Stay outside the quarantine sphere during these initial phases of mass omnipresent clearing. And one thing I always suggest, as you be the allowing witness through the non-trying right hemisphere of your brain, which is kind of like the ultimate organic search engine, see what appears to come up. Again, faint images are just as effective, and they're usually the accurate ones. See at least two of the overseers of multiverses. Over on the far side, we're surrounded by them. Over in the background, see at least two of them, if that suits you. Up to the left and right, evenly spaced, and directly opposite you in the background, a little above Gaia, is your soul like the soul I am, directing things. Authentic heart, authentic I am, higher aspects, transmute that, clear that there. Okay. Again, this is about ultimately trusting yourself. Kind of pushing yourself, pushing your consciousness past its limits without necessarily pushing yourself per se. It's almost like being under a beautiful, deep hypnosis kind of thing. Of allowance and being a witness. Okay. There's massive resistance. We'll break it down. You don't have to get it right first time. This is the kind of thing that you kind of play, flow, play, detach, allow, witness, be the witness. And anything dark, allow for you, for the teams, through you, through your consciousness, to begin turning it white. In other words, transmuting. That's the name of the game. Okay, I felt Gaia there as this absolute garbage is getting cleared. This is the initial basic clearing before we get a bit more into the nitty gritty. This is mass transmutation en masse that will re-trigger, reset this temporary hold on ascension, because this had to be cleared first before going any further. Trust in the imagery that the teams through the right hemisphere of your brain is already delivering. Okay, I felt her again there. As always, share in the Telegram chat if you ever feel Gaia all of a sudden at about the time that I felt her, or at least verbalized it. It's always a fascinating thing. Everything in terms of what I'm seeing, and I don't want to influence what you see, but there's just, I mean, everything within the quarantine sphere is just intensely bright. As the basic broad sweep mass transmutation takes place. Take that occasional glance if you don't or can't see him at the same time in the background. Two of the heart and your soul oversoul. I am in the background. Okay, there's this. Now that the basic mass clearing is done, I noticed a very faint, kind of like upside down tri-star kind of structure within Gaia, which is probably a technology. You may see something else. And the other secret source to true energy work and psychic clearing is don't try to analyze or understand what you see. Just clear it. And then the information usually arrives. Be the witness. It's there. It's real. It's there. You just have to trust, which is easy when you understand how consciousness really works. That thing is removed. And I felt Gaia again. So as always, you veterans know that the more we clear, the more Gaia's divine energy returns or comes up through the surface to be the primary governance, is the best way I can verbalize that. And that's our job, that's our soul mission. And now a similar tri-star kind of structure appeared. This time it's upright. Now, 90% of you are going to see things based on your unique and specific soul task, soul assignment, the broader term being soul purpose. That's why, but to see that, you just have to be completely blank slated in terms of reference points or expectations or anything like that. I hope that made sense. Difficult thing to verbalize. Open up your mind, remove all, almost act as if life is starting all over again. And you're at a level of all that is where you don't know nothing at the egoic level. And allow yourself to go into that deep, almost like hypnosis, deep brainwave state, by allowing and being the witness and receiving an image that is already there for you to receive it. Oh, good. It's been removed, and I felt another little pulse or rising of Gaia's energy. We're doing this together. Now, for some of you, your specific soul task, pre-assigned soul task, based on your unique soul talent, will only come at one, maybe two specific moments throughout the whole process. And that's good. That means your unique soul purpose, soul assignment, pre-assigned assignment, and soul talents is being seized upon, is being acted on. Go deep down into theta state or hypnosis, if that's a term that works for you. All right. So it looks like we removed some fundamental underlying structures. If you see more, have at it, turn it white, and then watch it disappear. And you may or may not see a little kind of a glow up or explosion, if you will, of either magenta or gold or maybe green, light blue is another one. Goddess colors, in other words. Now, for those of you not doing anything in particular, you just completed something and not seeing much more, have a go with looking at each continent. Again, you can use very basic background translucent colors. And you may, or allow yourself, to see from far away outside the quarantine sphere. It's going to look like very dark grey or even black ooze is the word I'm going to use. It's very hard to describe or verbalize energetics, because verbalization is not our natural form of communication, for those of you who may not know that. Allow a black, almost smoky ooze rise up from each continent, but turn it white at the same time as it's rising. Again, trust in your right hemisphere's brain, your right hemisphere's super advanced ability to present an image to you that'll make sense to you. Throughout all the main continents, black ooze. This is the emotional collective body of humanity, the emotional release, which is the higher purpose of this lunar eclipse. Just float around, allow. It doesn't have to be a perfect image at all. And see, once it rises up somewhat off of each continent, just off the surface, see it turn white, and this white then turning into upward streaks of light way up. And we're just pulling it out of the human collective pain body, namely the emotional body. This is because since compression breakthrough started back in May 25, I think it was, a lot of the darkness and quantum anomaly has kind of retreated into the human collective personal fields, where it can harvest the energy to keep itself going, you can hide, etc., which is part of what's caused so much havoc and chaos and things going sideways this past few weeks, which only got amplified since the solar eclipse, ironically because of our success. So float around, play around, really do harness and adapt or adopt the super consciousness, power,
referred to as the limitless mind and attitude of a child. If you're still struggling, that's your exit. That's where to go. And maintain that internal imagery. Teams in the background, at least 2 of the HOD in the background on either side, left or right. Take that occasional glance, and directly opposite in the background, sort of in between them, your solo, the soul I am. Again, it comes down to liberation of your consciousness, which leads to liberation. You're simply actually doing it because you're in the right time, in the right place, to use the 3D expression, I guess, because we're working outside of time deliberately. But you have to trust and really allow that the imagery, driven by your intent, is already there. You just have to know it's there. The way those initial native Indians didn't know that Columbus's ships were in the middle of the bay right in front of them, but they didn't know they were there because they didn't know such things existed. Well, I'm helping you know what does exist, what is real, for you to see it. So there's this constant, soon to end, massive upward streaks, if you will, of this incredible toxic emotions, toxic garbage within the human collective, sort of briefly emanating upwards off the surface and then northwards, I guess, but way up. It's like long streaks of light coming out of the darkness within each continent. In other words, all the populated areas of the world. Just hold this vision of this mass transmutation from omnipresence and quote unquote pretend or allow, whatever terminology works for you, all your higher aspects, especially your almighty I am and the overseers of multiverses that have the capacity to rip through anything in no time. Allow them to do it, but be the witness. And I know it can leave you in a state of not really knowing whether it's your consciousness doing it or them doing it through your consciousness. It's kind of both. Two things exist at the same time. And that's the best way I can verbalize that. Again, it's normal for energy work and multidimensionality phenomena to appear kind of nebulous in a sense, especially from a rational mind perspective. Whatever. Kick butt, take names, don't take no for an answer. Get off
get off all this garbage off of Gaia's sacred body. Don't tolerate it for a second. As we do this for another minute or two, as we draw this phase to a conclusion. So, how about it? This is your opportunity to fulfill soul mission. Do it in all sorts of ways. Play. Allow, witness, and then allow it even more and witness even more as if you're not doing anything at the egoic level anyway. As if. Because a lot came up in the past few weeks, especially the past week. Hence the intensities. I'm just going to be silent for a couple of minutes as we draw this to a conclusion, but really go for it. Really run in a huge way. With the limitless power of your consciousness, or so-called imagination. There's no such thing. Pull out the poison. Watch it turn into white light as soon as it rises into the lower atmosphere from each continent. And watch that white light form kind of like a long streak upwards. And it just transmutes. This is your natural potential actually being done. Ensuring that you didn't and never suffered for nothing. Okay. I'm going to be quiet for a couple of minutes. Kind of lose yourself through the now with this image. Have at it while you can. We're going to be wrapping up this phase for the final phase in a couple of minutes.
Okay, this is good. We're still under 2 hours. Okay. Now see all the black toxic emotions, energies, blocks in many cases of the human collective that was being pulled up and immediately transmuted into white light as they were getting pulled up. See that all of a sudden, how do I verbalize this? See, starting from Antarctica, and you don't have to do this quite yet, I'm just giving you kind of like the heads up. Starting from Antarctica, some sort of a thick layer of stuff, of something that was hiding stuff. That's the best way I can verbalize it. A lot of hidden darkness, technologies concentrated on the surface, sort of rapidly dissipate away into nothingness, but also outwards from the center of Antarctica, moving out like a opening of a thick layer. What's an analogy I can use? I can't think of it right now. Again, trust and run with it. Trust in your higher mind. It's like an opening, a thick layer of some kind of opening that just opens up and reveals a cleared surface at all relevant densities, but particularly on the full spectrum of the physical plane. It's as if there's some sort of a peeling away of something thick, probably a technology that was holding a lot of this stuff, keeping it in place, running the show. Again, we don't worry about details. We work out the details, or if we're even interested, worry about the details later. So in whatever way works for you, per your unique soul talents and system, see like it's peeling away, opening. From Antarctica, opening up, clearing. It'll be faint. Going up through Australia, New Zealand, then South Africa, up through, and hold the intent to remove all darkness. Long story short, negative energies, subquantum anomaly, negative entities on all relevant densities, primarily the physical plane at all its spectrums and frequencies, including hidden stuff like temporal bubbles, grids that you can't see, etc. Concentrated on the surface, see aggressively, intensely. Open up. Moving up through to the past the equator. Reaching the US, reaching North Africa, past India, well into China. And sort of coalescing, converging up to Scandinavia, northern Siberia, northern Canada, past Alaska, and converging. And to finish up, look at two of the hot in the background. Look up at your soul over soul I am in that same original visual. And I do mean look at them. See the long infinite rays of your I am behind your oversoul, for example. Be mesmerized by it. And hold that relaxed imagery of at least two of the overseers and multiverses. And repeat after me. In a way that keeps me safe, complete the fulfillment of my soul mission and potential. Look down at Gaia. Whatever you see, don't try to understand it. Doesn't work that way. Turn it white. Again, change the background color. Of the quarantine sphere into a very dark, translucent kind of indigo, if that's what works for you. You're the god. Make the rules. But from a place of a much higher level of consciousness and awareness. Past your current reference points. By letting go and seeing beyond anything you have ever seen before. Feel the determination of your heart center. And if all you saw was just black covering Gaia, turn it white. Feel, and I know you would expect this to be really intense, but it's in a way that can't be comprehended. It has to be experienced if you allow it. Allow this transmutational white light around Gaia, but mostly within the surface area and atmosphere. Allow it to kind of gently dissolve darkness. It just disappears into faintness, into nothingness, gone. Kind of feel it. You don't necessarily have to visualize it per se, because all you're probably seeing is just Gaia in a ball of light. But within that ball of light, underneath it, like the peel of an orange, think of the peel, or the rind, I should say, of an orange as the white transmutational light, gently dissolving its way, all darkness, all forms of darkness, especially negative energies and chaos particles, or otherwise known as quantum and subquantum anomaly, technologies, civilizations within, entities within, etc., all manner of dark consciousness within, just dissolve, transmuted, but in the most weirdest, softest way. It's hard to describe. And kind of sense it, feel it, sink inwards towards the surface, wherever it exists, because we're working from omnipresence, downwards we go into the lower atmosphere, dissolving entities, energies. Energies, entities. Portals, vortexes, wormholes of a very unsavory nature, shall we say. Swarms and armies of entities, dark consciousness, the lurker being the best known example. Dissolving it all throughout all relevant densities and frequencies and planes, because we've set that intent. And our natural organic algorithm and the teams do the rest, because we've set the intent. Inwards we go. Feel it like sink inwards. This light that's impossible to describe. Again, we're beyond. Way beyond our current level of consciousness, way beyond what's known or familiar in terms of energy work from the surface here. Gently. You may get glimpses of layers of blackness, grids, technologies. Sink it all, dissolving it all, everything. Dissolving, sinking it, and now kind of zoom out a little bit, just a little bit, so you can see the HOD, the soul I, the soul I am, in the background again. And now something really cool in terms of allowance and mindset for an even higher level of consciousness. Go into a kind of deep hypnotic state through even more allowance and surrender and flow. And now let go and let them do it. Just have them somewhere in the background of a visual where you're putting 50% focus on them. Again, two, or if you want all, whatever works for you, but at least two of the overseers of multiverses, and your soul I am over soul directly opposite you. And allow your almighty consciousness, limitless nature of it, accept them doing it through you, clearing all remaining darkness, all toxicity, all grids, technological broadcast, negative entities, dark consciousness, quantum entanglements with garbage. Think almost like it's imploding. But let them do it. Let go and let God, as they say. Surrender, but hold consciousness. Hold the visual. It can be faint. Again, they're usually the more accurate ones, and with that, let it sink into the lower atmosphere, through the surface, and you start to see a ring of magenta, which is the upper atmosphere of Gaia. And downwards we go. let them do it. You can, again, you're working from omnipresence way outside of linear time, so you can take 2, you can take 3, and action. Let them do it. Take a deep, slow inhale through your nose as you be in a place, a consciousness of complete allowance. Witness, throw caution to the wind, and witness them doing it. And now, whatever color you see, representing omnipresence of the cleared Gaia, namely the crust, surface area, and lower atmosphere, whatever color, as the whiteness just dissolves and sinks inwards. Whatever color you see that represents a cleared atmosphere and crust of Gaia, especially the surface, that's the color that you see. And now, see the continents starting to light up or appear as if they're rising above through the surface of this beautiful background color, whatever color it is that you saw. See the continents rise up or starting to appear, but as gold. Like, see all the ley lines, Hartmann grids, whatever's, crisscrossing lines, but gold. See them appear as gold. We're reconstituting, essentially, Gaia's grids because they have been heavily infected over the past couple of weeks in particular. Basically, compression breakthrough and the detox of the collective human emotional body has taken its toll. We're just, I guess, the sanitation engineers. The gods simply playing our part. See them emerge, each continent. You don't have to see it vividly or perfectly. Again, faint images always seem to work just as well. Really playing the grids. As this is the final act of this lunar eclipse, August 28th, 1:44K, mass intervention. Allow the teams to consolidate and complete. See all these glistening golden lines within the shorelines, I guess, of each continent. Light up Europe, the Middle East, Africa, light it up. You can darken the background color of Gaia to be able to really see the vivid goldenness. Light it up. All these grid points, converging nexus points of grids and vortexes, lighting up. Bring and return the authentic organic light of Source itself. The faster you do it, the less effort you put in, the more you be the witness, the easier it is to see. Light everything up. Really let your consciousness go where it needs to go. Be nothing more than that omnipresent witness of that internal sacred image. And now, pick an ocean where you can see the core of Gaia all the way down into the core of Gaia and see a little point of white light that is the portal to the sun, and then to Alcyon, and then to the galactic central sun, and to the cosmic central sun, pulling that light originating from the cosmic central sun, which is the central sun of this universe, that was specifically designed for the express and exclusive purpose to corral all darkness back to the light throughout the omniverse and multiverses, corralling it, and now pull out that sacred holy light through that portal. It almost looks like a star deep in the core of Gaia. Pull it out, but pull out the golden light language of the authentic organic source, the original organic source. Pull golden light. It's like a translucent gold, glittering. Outwards it comes throughout the surface. Reaching the surface, coming through, merging, and now all of Gaia is gold. It's hard to make out the continents now. Into and through the surface, transforming the light. You may see various perpendicular lines of gold coming through the surface, connecting to natural auric layers, auric organic grids of Gaia throughout the crust, throughout the lower atmosphere, throughout the upper atmosphere, just like how our whole energy system obviously goes beyond our physical skin Same deal. Integrate, lovingly merge, gracefully return to grace. We're returning Gaia and humanity. Back to golden light language, source energy, source essence, Gaia essence, goddess essence and energy and consciousness, returning it back through to the surface and lower atmosphere, where it was very absent for way too long. And just expand it out, see it grow outwards into the upper atmosphere, merging with the rest of Gaia's electromagnetic field. That's well into lunar, sublunar space. And just pull out more light. This is what you're here for, whether you know it or not. Pull out more light through the core of Gaia. Up-leveling, higher frequencies, upwards, dissolving any darkness throughout mostly throughout the surface. And now just sit back and watch and relax and witness the teams doing it. Your I am and the heart in particular, because they are super fast in doing things that would literally otherwise take years. Now you know why you're here, listening to my voice. And just see, to finish up over the next minute, we've got 1 minute left. See, just constantly expanding, outwards emanating, holographic, translucent spheres of gold. Rewriting, restructuring, reconfiguring all energies, matter, electromagnetic energies, memories, etheric imprints of past negative events, certainly dissolving the so-called quantum and subquantum anomaly, and anything false, whether it's a consciousness, whether it's a simulation or a technology. And now pull out a few more of these outwards emanating golden spheres emanating from the core of Gaia, ultimately from the cosmic central sun, gently dissolving. And this is the crescendo, gently dissolving quantum entanglement of all of surface humanity and darkness, quantum subquantum anomaly, dark consciousness throughout the surface. Again, the lurker being the most popular example. Quantum entanglement with entities through us, because we all have entities, whether you know it or not. If you have any blocks, you're going to have entities. Any unresolved internal traumas or false beliefs, programs, what have you, there's entities around it. And see that golden light rise through the surface, constantly emanating spheres of light, now focused on quantum disentanglement, both physical, non-physical, plasma, all density, all relevant densities. Disentanglement, disentanglement, disentanglement. Outwards we go. Out you go. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. Obviously, I'm referring to darkness here. As our off-world and inner earth brethren use their technologies to assist and accelerate and expedite and smooth quantum disentanglement. Literally, look at your soul over soul I am. Your I am is fundamentally omnipresent, So are the overseas of the multiverses. So we're going to spell it out to them. Look at them. Repeat after me. In a way that's gentle and calming. Complete the process with ease and grace and softness. The process of quantum disentanglement at all levels and particles between all of surface humanity and all forms of darkness at all levels, planes, and densities, including dark essence, dark consciousness, anything dark or false. Please complete. And I just saw Gaia really light up stronger in golden, as a golden sphere. So obviously they're having at it. Hold consciousness for another 20 seconds. Allow the process, be the witness, just watch. Intent and the right intent has been set at the right now moment. It's all off-world and inner world forces use their technologies and make this happen, doing their part. We do our part. This Legion of Light and our higher aspects doing their part, all at the one time. Boom. Well done. We're done. Quickly zoom out, turn the hologram, the quarantine sphere and Gaia into a sort of a dark indigo holographic image. Move white light, a wave of white light throughout, within the quarantine sphere, throughout Gaia and her outer field, removing, holding the intent, and remove all energetic traces of you, just as an extra thin layer of security, calling back your tracks. Hold the intent to call back your tracks as the white light removes, the way, I don't know, a native or a special forces soldier would cover up the imprints of their boots or feet behind them by rubbing the dirt. Pick your analogy. Thank the teams, thank the HOD, thank your soul over soul I am, higher self, and whoever else you want to thank. We are done. Return your consciousness back into the room. We remove structures and technologies and mass toxicity, removed it all to get down to this level of rewriting things, essentially. Accelerating compression breakthrough and disentanglement from, let's just say, some very nasty things, to return ease, grace, and calm and gentleness to ascension without slowing it down. Congratulations, 144K. For stepping up and doing, by most standards, general standards, heavy duty, dedicated, loving work. And to say you can walk off with pride, and a certain deep level of contentment would be an understatement. Not for the first time, feel the immense, overwhelming gratitude, love at incomprehensible levels of gratitude, and I really mean that. Feel it from seemingly all that is, as we are the deepest extensions of Source, managing to get the light wherever it's so desperately needed. And we succeeded. Like I said, even if you only got a couple of faint images in there and transmutation, you did your job per your unique soul pre-assigned task, assignment, mission. And that's what counts. As always, share anything worthy of sharing, even if it didn't coincide roughly with whatever I verbalized. And it's only upwards from here. We dissolved the roughness so that things can proceed. Because the way things were going these past few days in particular was really slowing down planetary liberation. But that happens from time to time whenever there's a big enough detox that, just hits collective blocks. See you in the 144K Telegram chat. Love to hear from you. Feel the love. I really mean that. Feel the boundless gratitude from all that is. I can't say that enough times. It's just so visceral, so real. For you so bravely stepping up and going beyond what you thought you were capable of. But my job and your higher self's job is to keep on just nudging you past your personal boundary. That's where freedom lies. That's where real upliftment and joy lies. So well done. This is your loving servant, the Unknown Light Warrior, faithfully and doing his best to help you fulfill your soul mission. Big hugs, everybody.